live. It is Wednesday. Let's see, April 22nd. I'm Spencer, and well, sometimes I go by Black Ross. I'm trying to make that a thing. I've got some exciting stuff related to that coming out soon, by the way. But in the meantime, we're going to kick things off with a warm-up like we always do. And if you're joining for the first time, hit that subscribe button and turn on alerts if you like the stream. Hopefully you hang out long enough for that. We've been having fun on the channel here. Dropped some videos on perspective drawing today. We did a tree, and let me see. I'm trying to remember the other one. I don't know. We just drop all sorts of stuff, so it's all kind of a blur. Anyhow, check in. Let me know where you're watching from. And for those who are joining on the Instagram, I will be running a stream for about 10-15 minutes while I warm up here. So if you want to catch the rest, hit me up. I picked a theme for today for suggestions, and that's going to be the kitchen. So if there's something in the kitchen, I will draw it. If you have ideas around the kitchen, we'll talk about it. If you have feelings about the kitchen, share them. All that good stuff. If you're watching us on Facebook, this is a delayed broadcast. Unfortunately, Facebook doesn't let you stream simultaneously, so at least they threaten to deactivate your account. So we're playing it safe and keeping it tight. Starting off with some circles here, always drawing with my shoulder and slicing these circles. Been really enjoying drawing lately, and it's always a nice thing when you feel like you've hit that fifth gear, so to speak. So I'm hoping I can keep it up. Thank you for all the suggestions, support, ideas, and all that stuff. Okay, we got some suggestions already. Chicago, Soul, Vitamin Splendor. What's up? This is Sketchaday Live. Hope you enjoy the stream. If you use Discord, you can join our Discord server. Link should be in the stream description. I also update the thumbnail after the stream and all that good stuff, just so that we are looking at the right thing. All right. Give me just a sec here. I'm going to show you something on my screen. Boom. At least we'll come back to that later. All right, a couple straight lines here, or few rather. Draw with your shoulder, nice and relaxed. I've been like going non-stop all day, like it's been insane. I have some design contract work, the channel, kids, life, all of that good stuff all pop in at the same time. It's been crazy. So I actually haven't eaten today yet. I have some coffee to keep me juiced for the stream, but other than that, yeah, it's been a day, people. It's been a day. So for those who don't know, I am a full-time single dad. That's what I do when I'm not designing, and it's been interesting. Let me tell you what, it's been interesting. So, that being said, I definitely appreciate the support. Supporting the dream, loving what I do. This exercise is about progressively increasing the degree of the ellipse. If you don't know what that is, just head over to my channel on YouTube, search for ellipse, and you'll see a video that kind of explains what the degree of an ellipse is, at least how I think about it. Alright, a couple more here. Another way to do this, by the way, is if you draw the center line, right, this is kind of our axis here, and then I can draw ellipses so that they are equal, meaning equal this way, half and half. So if you're watching on Instagram, once again, I cannot right now anyways see your comments. So if you want to participate in the live stream, the best way to do that is hit up YouTube. What's up, Bumblebee? And we'll be peeling off here soon. Probably partway into our first sketch at this rate. But thank you for joining. If you don't want to miss the stuff I do, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, I post a lot. So if you find that you're missing stuff, definitely hit alerts, or sorry, subscribe. Instagram lets you do that as well. Facebook lets you do that. YouTube. So hit subscribe, turn on alerts, and you won't miss a thing. All right, and why do we do these warm-ups? Because if I want to sketch a minivan, it makes it really easy. All right, I can just pick a few of these here. Put some dubs on this minivan. I was talking to my friend Mike DeTulo this week. Was it this week or last week? Anyhow, he was like, cars are always so aggressive. We need some friendly vehicles. And he's right. Everything looks so aggressive. But all these warm-ups are good for this stuff, right? You're just putting in your brain how to draw all these things so that it's super easy. You already know what you're doing. You don't have to think about it. That's the beautiful part, when you get to the point where you're not even thinking about everything that goes into your drawing. Always feels nice. Sometimes I get stressed out though, and I still find myself like struggling to figure something out in a drawing, but that's okay. You know, failure, difficulty, all of that, that's just an opportunity to learn something that's hit me recently in life, or more powerfully recently anyways. Okay, I'm not gonna waste any more time on this, but that's why we warm up, okay? So we're gonna kick things off in the kitchen. We got one request already from Latrice, for a blender. I was actually gonna do a food processor if no one suggested anything. So we'll kick things off. We're gonna freestyle it. No gray marker or anything like that. Once again, check in. Let me know where you're calling from, or tuning in from rather. I am Spencer, industrial designer. Been doing this for a minute, and yes, there are black people in Salt Lake City, Utah, as it turns out, and I'm one of them. All right. So let's do a blender, and I'm not looking at any reference for this one. I'm just gonna try and pull from my general knowledge, but let's start with some sort of base, like so, and let's give the base a little thickness. I'm gonna switch pens actually. This one kind of gave out on me. I am using a Papermate Flare as well. And no, this isn't designed with any specific end user in mind. We're just illustrating a blender, not really designing a blender. Design's more about thinking about who might be using your product, why they're using it, what it says about them, all those things. But we're just gonna focus on our skills today. So you'll notice a lot of times when I draw, I'm trying to actually get better at this, but I'll put like multiple lines down. So I'm trying to limit myself to like 2 lines if possible. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so we've got the base, and now I just want a little area for control. It is a Vitamix, so it would have a knob, right? I'm thinking of what is the axis here. So it would have some sort of knob. That's kind of their signature thing. That's why I say it has a knob, but maybe they'll move away from all that digital stuff. Who knows? This knob is ridiculous, by the way. It would have to be smaller. All right. Now I can do the cup. Now a trick here, just so you guys know, is I'm gonna just put a dot up top here, and I'm kind of picturing what the top of this looks like. The reason I put that dot there is so I could just, this line represents the back of the vessel. I'm not even sure what you call it, the jug. And so now I can kind of use that as a guide. And the reason I could do that pretty much straight up and down is if this is a 3-point perspective, then this center line typically will shoot right down to that third vanishing point. So it makes it kind of easy. It's just a little trick that I use sometimes if I'm sketching something really tall. And then I'll just leverage these lines here for the lid of this super tall blender. It's like the world's tallest blender, but that's okay. All right, and now a little spout. Just gonna sketch that in, something like that. And I guess I sketch a lot of the same blender, but that's all right. It just reminds me of another one I did a few months back. Something like that. All right. So once our lines are in a good place here, I'm actually going to add a double line to the blender to show some wall thickness, basically. And now I need to kind of sketch in these blades, and maybe that's the tricky part we're kind of worrying about here. But I'm just going to put an ellipse in the middle. And now what I'm imagining here, okay, there's a point here, if it has 4 blades, for example. All right, this is kind of the geometry in my head. And if I project down, I can have these blades pointing down, like so. And then this one points up, so I just connect over here, like so, and then go back down, like so. And now I have, and it looks kind of weird because this blade goes up, but it looks kind of funny based on the angle. Now I could have, if this were an ellipse, pick some other points for rotation to show where that is. So sometimes that's something you need to do if you're sketching and your concept isn't totally clear. You might have to redo it and show it from a different point of view that makes more sense. And that's totally fine, totally okay. I do it all the time if I have to rotate a sketch, that kind of thing. All right, Instagrammers. My internet can only take so much of a dual stream. So I'm going to say deuces. Peace out. We're going to finish this with markers. And we are doing, yes, India Doodle. I know the camera angle is bad, but if you're on YouTube, you'll actually get a view like this. And it's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to peel off. Peace out. Come join me on YouTube, sketchaday.live or youtube.com/sketchaday.com. Okay, so let's finish up here. And then while I'm finishing this up, chat check-in, what's up? We got someone from Iran, Turkey, Lisbon. Very cool. Latrice says both ways are correct in pronouncing their name. Well, I would hate to, upset you by mispronouncing your name, so I appreciate the lenience there. All right. I'm trying to decide if I want to do any marker on this or not. I might just keep it simple today. Like I said, I'm running on very little sleep for one, but also no food all day. Just coffee right now. Coffee, music, and you guys. That's what's keeping me alive. And my kids, of course. But yeah, it's been a day. But I am grateful. Life's been good. Safe, healthy, happy. All of that good stuff. Alright, just added a couple vents here on the bottom. Motors, because they're spinning. It's kind of an intake that happens. Or airflow needs to happen rather on that motor. Maybe a logo here on the knob. And maybe for the brand, emphasizing the knob could be a good thing. couple chrome lines there. Like so. If you're just joining, this is Sketch-A-Day Live. We do this 3 times a week. This is our Wednesday show. We also go live on Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. So if you missed that show today, you can catch that one. And if you missed the Friday show, we go live at midday on Sunday. At around 12:01 Pacific. It just depends on the day and what's kind of popping around me, what's happening. But this is Sketch-A-Day Live. Thanks for joining. Thanks for checking in. We have an international show, it turns out. Iran, Portugal. We usually have people from India and China as well, so pretty awesome. Hello, Pablo, Bumblebee, what's up? Matthew, funny comment. Okay, let's get a quick shadow in here. You might wonder why I always throw in like a background. I think that's probably a video like topic I could dive into that might be worthwhile sometime, so I'll revisit it. But basically what the background does is it helps to ground the object on the page, help it pop as necessary, or rather you're working in a 2-dimensional medium, meaning paper, so anything you can do to kind of help this thing feel 3-dimensional, meaning there's an object behind this main object, that's only going to help your presentation. You want to use it sparingly and judiciously, so not to have the elements compete with each other. The other way it's particularly helpful is if you have another view of the product, like so, for example, and maybe you're showing the shape of the handle, something I can't necessarily see here, but I want to sketch over here. I can add just a secondary drawing like so. Today's topic, by the way, is the kitchen, so anything in the kitchen you want me to sketch. Could be a plant, animal, well, maybe not animal. I don't want to do animals today. Plant, food item, appliance, anything you might find in your kitchen. People, maybe. We'll see. Probably only going to do about 3 or 4 sketches today. Or it might be, you know, maybe there's an alternate view that you want to show of the product, right? Or it could be a different type of jar, something like that. Or maybe it's a different position for the spout. Like here's another idea. You know, maybe the handle comes off this way. Can sketch that down like so. But the background will help connect these ideas, at least conceptually, as someone's looking at the page. Having that color background kind of helps them relate to each other. Maybe this one has 2 knobs for some reason. Except now it looks like a dude looking somewhere. And we could do like a drop shadow. Also might be useful to do something like an exploded view on something like this, you know, to show what the parts are and what their makeup is, if necessary, like if the concept requires it. And that's really up to you as the illustrator, designer, person doing this to decide, is like, does this view do the job of communicating everything or not, right? So you've probably, if you've looked at industrial design portfolios or product design portfolios, you've probably seen pages like this where you'll have concepts and text and so forth. It's a pretty common thing, and the purpose of this is really just to tell a story about the product or experience. So this is a roundabout way of saying backgrounds are useful in conceptually linking ideas when we need them to be linked. Okay, someone says a Pyrex measurer. Okay, I can do that. Coffee machine. Okay. Let's have some fun and make our blender green. I don't think Vitamix, do they even do colored blenders? I'm not sure if they do. Maybe they do. I don't know. I have a Blendtec, so one of my friends used to work there, so I like to support Blendtec. All right, a little bit of marker on the front perimeter. This bottom portion here, I'm gonna fill that in with color. This is more of an abbreviated marker sketch, so I'm using one marker, okay, for each color, and then just hitting the area multiple times to kind of get a little darker. Pablo is asking if I can draw a pistol. Generally speaking, I don't like to draw weapons. It's kind of a, yeah, it's just an interesting area that can lead to a lot of complications, so I'd rather not go there. Oh, I forgot to mention special thanks and shout out to my Patreons. I know I keep saying I'm going to get you the brushes. I will get you them. I'm going to make a note tonight. It's not that I don't want to give them to you. I've just forgotten. But anyone who's been a Patreon for over 2 months will get my new Procreate brushes for free as a thank you. So thank you. And new Patreons do get a sticker in the mail. We have some new stickers coming out as well. I'll probably send out to existing Patreons. So just as a thank you, I really do appreciate it. We're certainly in uncertain times right now, and everything counts, everything helps. Some of you have asked in the past, what are some ways we can support you? One of the best ways actually is to, besides mailing me a wad of cash, is to actually just check out the store. If there's something you like, then pick it up. You can use the code FIRSTTIMER if it's your first time and get a discount. So to those who have used that means, thank you very much. Much appreciated. And I hope you enjoy whatever it is you picked up. And if you didn't enjoy it, let me know as well. I'm happy to try and make things right for people. Definitely believe in that. Okay, so one marker, wait till it dries. Here on the bottom as well, for example. Just wait till that dries, and then you can hit the area again. And now you have that interplay of contrast that really just helps the concept pop. All right, so we had a couple more requests. We had a Pyrex measurer of some sort. I'm guessing you mean measuring cup, one of the big ones, probably glass. I guess there'll be a lot of glass in this episode. I'm gonna grab my Ohuhu markers, the super cheap ones. Or maybe I'll use the Bianyo today. I also just worked out before the stream, so I'm like freaking exhausted. Jason asks, are there any episodes on Sketchbook Pro? Not yet, but I did start using Sketchbook Pro for a very specific project this week, so maybe there will be some of that. I think I've explained in the past, one of the reasons I don't particularly like Sketchbook right now is, unless they've changed it, but I feel as though they kind of abandoned the product for a bit there. And as far as I know, because I used to know people on the team, they kind of stopped development, or at least it wasn't a priority anymore. So if that's changed, I might be more amenable to checking it out. But Procreate and Fresco are kind of my go-tos right now for different reasons on the iPad. Alright, so it's really subtle, but you'll notice here in the corners I've kind of dipped down a little bit. Maybe just hit it with a little bit of blue. And that's just to suggest that there's some thickness to this plastic, okay? And if we want to thicken up the outline, we can do that. So there's a question about how to render inside a glass, which is a really good segue, because I want to talk about something. I get a lot of questions, and I don't mind making new videos by any means, but usually I feel as though you can find what you need by kind of just searching. So let's see, there we go, sketch day, YouTube. Quick break, you can see I'm live right now. So if you go to the YouTube page or channel and you look at it, there's a few options. You got home, videos, playlist, community, store, sign in, channel about. You definitely want to hit that subscribe button. Like I said, there's links to all my fan pages, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, super easy. But more importantly, there's two things I want to show you. So the first is search. So if you want to search for glass, you can search for that, hit enter, and we have a few videos that talk about glass, either in the comments or in the but here's the most recent one, for example. You can also go to playlists. Now I've been revamping this and I'm working on kind of redoing this page. And a lot of you asked for cars. There's tons of videos on cars, for example. This might play. Never mind. Ignore that. Okay. So if you want to, let's see. Oh, view full playlist. That's what'll do it right there. So you can see all the videos on cars. And there's a ton. There's a ton of videos here. And there will be more. So I'm not stopping. I'm just showing you guys a little bit of the channel and how that kind of works. So if there's a topic you're after, you can sometimes find it in the playlist. There's also a community page where I post things. So posting sketches or announcements, updates. There's my kids' YouTube channel, for example. So just a little pro tip for you. If you're interested, you can check that stuff out. All right. So added some line weight to the back here. I can do the same thing on the front to kind of help this pop. And then we'll do our Pyrex glass next. I think that was the next request. This is just a brush pen I'm using here to kind of help with the line work and help pull this forward a little bit. All right, so I'm going to set this to the side. As always, I will be uploading these scanned sketches to the Google Drive. That link should also be in the video description. You can check that out. And I am going to take this one step further, and I'm going to break out the live video because I love you guys. I'm going to break this out into smaller videos, and these smaller videos are going to be about each thing I sketch in the stream. And no, that's not going to take away from regular videos I post. So I hope you enjoy the content. It's going to get real. More stuff's going to be coming out. Israel Media Arts, welcome. Thanks for finding me. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Potato peeler. We've got cheese grater. Cheese grater would be really hard. And let's see. Do I ever draw food? I do sometimes. All right, let's see. I'm trying to remember what was next. Coffee machine. I could do a coffee machine. How about we do a... What kind of coffee machine though? Do we want to do like a drip coffee, a French press? Do we want to do like one with a filter and all that stuff? Give me a little bit more information. In the meantime, I'll do the Pyrex. All right, so let's do just a cool measuring container that's glass. Okay, so on the inside of the glass here, I'm going to talk about the torus principle, okay? Torus principle. So if I want to draw a torus, hopefully you guys know what a torus is. T-O-R-U-S. Basically a donut. Okay, so a lot of times if you're trying to draw a donut, you don't really know what you're doing. You kind of draw two ellipses like this, and you're like, oh man, it looks flat. You know, you could add contour lines, but even then, it's not quite accurate. So what you actually want to do is something like this, where you sketch a portion of one ellipse and then another ellipse. So it's almost like cutting right here. Now it looks like a smiley face, but it's almost like cutting right there and taking this portion and pulling it down so that there's that kind of relationship, all right? And that's the torus principle. Sometimes you can see it as well. Torus principle or TP. So if this were a plane, right, and I want to do a transition here, a lot of times we'll just put a little curve like so, maybe a construction line there if you want, but the ellipse for where this transitions to is actually represented by this dotted line. So zooming in real close here for you guys. Okay, this area right here, there's a little bit of a gap. That, my point is, that ellipse, let me get my hand out of the picture here so it can focus. So that part of the ellipse would actually go around. All right, so pro tip, those little things make a big difference in your sketches. Trust me, they make a big difference. All right. So let's say we wanted to make some sort of measuring container. We need a spout, okay, of some sort. So I'm going to sketch that in. And this is all part of the form, divide, beautify process that I like to use. And why did I just talk about the torus principle? Well, if the top of this is rounded, you know, like a slumped glass, then I'm going to kind of stop short of this far edge and maybe continue with a line or two where we're going to have some refracted things, okay? Refracted, or you could call them occlusions or compressed reflections, things like that. Now, maybe my handle is wood because this is a fancy measuring thing. All right, and this wood connects to the glass somehow. I don't know how. Let's not worry about it right now. Let's just have fun. And I'm gonna put just some tick marks here. When I'm doing these tick marks, I'm trying to just be mindful that this surface is curved, right? Now let's do the base. I think I might make the base like a rubber. So something like that. Now I'm going to give this a little bit of thickness. Actually, not even a little bit, a lot. Because we got a thick boy right here. So basically my design is something like this, okay? If I were to do a side view. Haven't figured out this connection yet, but that's okay. You know, some sort of wood handle, nice thick glass here, and our rubber base. All right, and just like we did in our warm-up, once again, you've got these ellipses. So at the top, smaller, toward the bottom, bigger. I'm probably a little bit too big on the bottom, but I mean, given the perspective, but you know, roll with it. At least that's what I tell myself. All right, so I've got the sketch. Oh, thank you, Latrice. Much appreciated. I will shoot me a message. I'll send you the sticker. What's up, Shaz? Welcome. Thank you for joining the stream. Okay, so how do you do glass? That's such a tough one, right? It can seem overwhelming, confusing. Where do I start? Where do I begin? What do I do? All those things. I'm just gonna grab some gray markers here. Really doesn't matter too much, but Pyrex is kind of greenish anyways, so I'm gonna pick some greenish colors, maybe some blue green, blue gray, and I'll grab some others as well. Let's see, we've got, I'm really trying to find some green gray here, but oh, there we go. Green gray 3. And these are Ohuhu markers. Okay, so it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I typically just like to outline the sketch. And I'm being careful to just leave a little bit of white on the outside here. So not shading to the extreme edge. Okay, and our glass has some thickness to it. But I do, when I'm, or rather, when I'm shading glass, I like to kind of add some contrast on these edges, like so. And now, this is a green gray 3. I need something lighter still, actually, if this is clear. Like if there's a background or it's on top of some fabric or a countertop or something, then you're going to have some interplay of light, but we're just going to assume that it is a clear background here. All right, so I need a lighter gray. Let me see if I can find one real quick. There we go. Green gray 1. And I like this because it does have just a nice greenish tint to it. Okay, so as far as reflections, refractions go, I was gonna save this for a video. Let's see if I can find it. No, I can't find it. But basically you want to think about the glass here kind of like a mirror. And a mirror is going to reflect things in the environment. And a curved mirror is not only going to reflect things, but it's going to kind of distort or compress things as well. Okay, so for example, we'll still have shadow cores, but we're gonna have a streakier kind of appearance to things, okay? Something like that, maybe in the back here, and we'll introduce the contrast in just a bit. But I'm assuming my light source is coming from this direction, which is typically what I do. And so we want some nice, what's called artifacting. So I'm going to leave this here for now for the transparent portion, and for the base I want to just shade this real quick with some gray. This is a chart pack marker, in case you're wondering, and since it's rubber, I'm just going to kind of fill the area with the marker. Okay, I don't really need it streaky. And these markers are great as far as blending, so if you like chart packs, again, shout out and thanks to Chad Sanborn for hooking this up. He is gracious enough to donate and help out. So I'm just going to leave that there, just kind of solid gray. This is a basic gray 1 chart pack marker, or sorry, basic gray 3. And now I'm going to take the basic gray 1. You always want to work light until you get it right, okay? So you'll hear me say, when in doubt, rough it out, which is coming soon as a sticker actually. And light until you get it right. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. Just keeping it light, and then I can come back with a 3, 4, 5, and so forth if I need to make this any darker on the bottom. So now that that's a little bit dry, we can go ahead and do that. Just like so. Even hit the base here a little bit. This is the same marker. It's just a little dried out. Or not dried out, but dried on the paper. It's a xylene based marker too, which, ugh, you gotta be careful when using these, tell you what. Okay, and I want to get some base color in for the handle here. I have much better luck with my Copic browns, so I'm gonna be using my Copics. I don't love to use them unless it's super professional work, but we'll go for it. What's up, Luke? Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. So I'm just going to start with a light stroke here, and we're going to do it in a way that's kind of parallel in the stroke to each other. And now, once that's dry, I can just come over the marker like so. And if I do a series of lines that are kind of close together, I get this wood grain effect. Now I do need to have a shadow core on this as well, but we'll bring those lines back out with a little bit of contrast. Alright, so this was a 71 in Copic. Now I'm going to switch to a 74. Okay, being careful not to shade all the way to the edge, because we want to simulate some reflected light and capture a little bit of shadow under these connectors to this glass body. And now with the 77, like I said, I'll come back. I guess I probably didn't need to put the grain on in the first place. And I'll probably go over it again with some pen anyways. Alright, but definitely want to try and get contrast on the far side so it reads better. And once we apply line weight and a few other effects, it'll pop a lot more. So hang with me here. Okay, So now I'm going to switch to this green gray 5 and let's take a look at some of these artifacts. So once again, in the room, there's going to be things, right? There's going to be like a fridge, there's going to be things on the counter, what have you. And so right in these corners, these edges, if you look at glass, a lot of times you have those artifacts, those things that are compressed or occluded in these rounds. Okay, and not only that, but you're gonna get those things happening on the glass itself. So you can treat this in kind of an interpretive, artistic way, right? So I, shaded this in here, left a couple little marker strokes at the end. So that's one way to do it, like so. And I'm gonna have this be like the strongest. So maybe the photographer, the person looking at this or observing, is standing here on this side and they're being reflected into the glass. Keith says, wood handle, haven't seen that before. Yeah, probably for a reason. Either cost or it's just completely insane and impossible. I don't know. I don't design glass things all day, so I'm just gonna dream and have fun. But this is the internet, so there's always someone who's like, well, actually, you can't do that with glass. Okay, so I'll do something like this. I'm just having fun, guys. I hope you realize that, and you guys are having fun too. Okay. So now, like I said, I'm going to enhance the wood grain here just a little bit. Holding the pen, this is a brush pen, just holding it ever so lightly. Because if I push harder, I can get a lot more line weight out of this. So you kind of have to be careful with these if you're using one. So for example, on this outline here, I can push a little harder. Even in the glass itself, if I want to enhance the contrast in these artifacts, I can do that like so, just by pushing a little bit harder. We haven't even gotten to the white pen yet. We need a little bit of white pen on this to kind of help things out. All right, I'm gonna put a couple dots on the base here, and as a last step, now that this is dry, I'm gonna take this basic gray 4. Again, not quite to the edge, because when something's sitting on a surface, you're still going to get a little bit of reflected light off that surface, hitting the bottom of this vessel, okay? It's probably not a good idea to have the bottom of your measuring thing opaque if it's glass, but we're just dreaming, right, guys? Okay. And I did have this green. Let's see, maybe I can use this to just get that nice greenish look to the glass. If you guys have looked at Pyrex, you'll know what I mean. All right. And I'm just gonna put some dummy text in here. I don't know if it would be black, right? Probably white, but just some dummy text for these markings, like so. All right, I think I'm gonna do 2 more sketches. I just realized I made a mistake on the top, but it's all good. So yeah, something like that. And then just on the base, I'm gonna make this a little heavier on the line weight. A couple dots for texture. You need to call out materials, you can do that with arrows, text. Check out my video on how to do notes. We'll talk about how I write and why I write that way. this is a silicone base. It may seem obvious or dumb, but when you're doing a design sketch, it's actually helpful to label your materials, even if you're rendering them, because it removes any confusion for the viewer as to what it is they're looking at. So, for example, shading, rendering, showing this in wood, I would argue is just as effective as me labeling this donut or torus and saying wood. Okay, it's just a lot faster to do that. It's not as compelling or impressive, but just as fast doing something like that. All right. So we added a drop shadow to this right there. I guess I need to drop shadow the handle as well. Something like that. Okay. Oh shoot, I forgot to add white. I said I was gonna add some white. So white just kind of helps it, you know, whenever you put it, rather, in areas where there's a lot of contrast, it just kind of helps things. Or if I want to erase, for example, this line a little bit, or at least reduce the visual appearance of it, you can add that white like so. You could even, this is an acrylic paint pen, so you could even cover this up and then add the green, and it would help, the greenish gray, and it would help it pop even more. Just a couple white spots in here. Like so. All right, and now we have our container. All right, Milos is asking, when I do professional work, how final is the sketch? Is it isometric front, top, and details? Usually I'll do a perspective sketch. This would be kind of in-process sketching, where you're just trying to explain the concept. If you're showing final materials and all that, then you need to increase the level of fidelity of the sketch. Hello, Slidemore, welcome. We're doing kitchen stuff today, so I think the next thing was a coffee maker of some sort. I always draw the same coffee maker, so let's see. Coffee makers have glass as well. You guys are like into glass today for some reason. For some reason. Yeah, so again, just freestyling this coffee maker. This is just your standard. I actually don't use a, what do I use at home? I use a French press. So this is a little bit different for me. So I'm probably just gonna make some stuff up here. Yeah, I'm just totally making this up, but maybe you put the filter in here or something. Coffee grounds. Ooh, actually, maybe. Except now it's gonna look like a face. But maybe this whole thing slides out. And that's your, like, maybe it's some proprietary filter that's in there. Has a screen. Like so. Here's our handle. Just to balance this on the page, I'm going to throw in some sort of background element. And we'll make this coffee maker dark or black. Yeah, the title I kind of decided on the fly. I just wanted to do kitchen stuff today. So, sorry if you're expecting cars or something else. I feel like we get a lot of cars and shoes though. Friday will be another opportunity though, so if you have ideas or suggestions, just let me know. I don't know why there's buttons on the front. I probably don't need it if it's a touch screen, but whatever. Yeah, lots of glass stuff today, guys. I guess there's tons of glass in the kitchen, so this is all good practice. If I didn't nail it before, then I have another chance to kind of hit this with you guys. So thank you. This is Sketch Day. Thanks for joining, being a part of the stream. Just to tie the top to the bottom, I'm gonna use a similar shape here. Like so, and then let's throw a base on this guy. Maybe it's like a giant silicone foot or something. I like silicone, as you can tell, or rubber. Alright, something like that. Why do you hold the pen higher up with wrist elevated? Okay, good question. I actually do this all the time. And this is something that took me years to learn. So if it helps you, great. If it doesn't help you, that's okay. Just do it your way. This is like way too big for the page, but holding the pen further up allows me, so if I'm here, it allows me to see past my hand to the drawing. Whereas if I hold a pen like this, I can't really see where I'm going. And it's kind of like life, right? If you can't picture where you're going, you're gonna mess up. You have to have a plan, or at least some idea of where you're heading, to increase your odds of success. Now, obviously it doesn't mean that everything has to be thought out, but I like being able to see what I'm doing. Plus, I've noticed personally, if I hold the pen a little higher up, I'm able to achieve a looser, more energetic sketch, because I'm no longer depending solely on my fingers to do the drawing, and I'm out of that writing mindset. And now I'm using my shoulder right here and my elbow to draw. So that's the big difference for me in holding the pen the way I do. All right, so back to this guy. And if you notice at some point here, we're kind of changing perspective. So this is probably our eye level right about there. And now things are starting to go downward. So real subtle, but something there. So I'm going to make the coffee maker itself black. And then, let's see. And then we'll have the screen. Should I make it black? I don't know. What color should the coffee maker be? Should we go like brawn and do orange or red or baby blue or something? I feel like black is just, you know, typical. It's hard to render black, but you guys let me know. I'll fix up the line weight here. You let me know. Maybe there's some orifice in the top of the... Orifice is such a weird word, but anyhow, maybe there's a hole in the top of the coffee maker here. Blue or orange? Okay, let's do blue. I don't even know what blue this is. I'm just gonna go for it. All right. We're just gonna go for it. So light till you get it right. When in doubt, rough it out. That's what I do. That's what we doing here on Sketchaday. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, turn on alerts, but better yet, teach someone, share what you know, share the love. You know, when I went to school, there weren't very many people doing things like this, where you could basically get free, at least visual design education online. So I wanted to kind of give back. That's how it all started. All right. So a little bit of blue there. I'm gonna leave this kind of thing not blue. Maybe I'll do the same with the face so we can at least tie in design-wise. Like so. So like I said, light till you get it right. Contrast is your friend. Okay, and I can identify a few areas here where I want to add some contrast. So for example, here where there's a shadow core, this is a rounded corner, as well as here. I'm gonna want to go a little bit darker with the blue, but I don't want to so I need to find a blue that works, that's not too heavy or intense. So I'm gonna do some quick tests in this set of cheap markers, and if you're curious about the markers, just search for marker on the channel and you'll find my review of the delicious Bianyo markers. And by delicious I mean literally, because I have tasted every single one. Just kidding, I haven't. That'd be really weird, right? Can you imagine? I don't think I've even tasted a marker before. Alright, so hopefully you can see the difference that's making already. And what you want to do, if you want to understand contrast a little bit better, is take a look. I'll fix that. It's not a huge deal, but it's still a little annoying. So what you want to do is just take a look around you in whatever room you're in, and you'll notice that wherever a surface changes direction, so like the corner of the room or a wall or anything like that, you have good contrast. And that's important, right? So that's what we're trying to do by placing this light against this dark. Okay? Same thing here on the side. I'm running out of space. Alright, just like that. The reason I'm making this side dark is it's away from what I'm proposing is the light source. What's up, Santiago? Okay. I'll do one more sketch after this. We already did two. Well, let's see. We did a blender and we did a glass container here. We're doing another glass or transparent thing. I guess there's a lot of those in the kitchen, so understandable. I think I'm going to make this central core gray. Same thing down here. And I'll use my chart pad for this, the add markers. They just make for a nice, smooth base. So I like that. So yeah, something like that. And then on the front here, I'll do the same thing. So this is, I changed this a little bit in the drawing. I want this to be indented or inside, so you could almost push on this and then pull your filter out or something like that. At least that's what I'm thinking. I'm not gonna do too much to the lighting there, but just a bit of stippling. Sorry, that was off frame. Just a little bit of stippling here for texture. Maybe a logo up top. This would be a fun coffee maker. I like color. You probably wouldn't guess it based on my wardrobe that I use in videos, but I do like color. Bright color. Like I have a pair of red pants, for example. Like bright red. Okay, so because this is perhaps a little bit shiny, I want to just kind of kiss the drawing a little bit with some of this deeper blue in a couple areas. Okay, just to help push that reflective appearance. Blend down. Like so. Yeah, we'll get to the vessel on the base here, don't worry. We're just saving that for last. Because it's going to be a beast. Alright, so our little foot here. Just preemptively, I'll shade in the shadow that I kind of hinted at. Maybe a little bit of a reflection. Boom. Alright, so that's what we have so far. Now I want to do this portion. And I was trying to decide if we should continue with the wood theme or not, but I'll just keep the top gray simple for now. And this is these grays are weird. I will say the chart pack. This is actually a cool gray, but it does not look cool at all. I will upload the sketches after the stream to the Google Drive, and if you're wondering where that link is or what I'm talking about, that's in the video description. I'll update the thumbnail, add it to a playlist, so if you miss the stream for whatever reason, if you just had to watch Netflix instead of watching me, I've put them in a playlist for you, so you can check those out. And just make sure you have subscribed and have those alerts on, and you really shouldn't miss when I go live. Okay, so the glass, once again, just for simplicity's sake, let's use those green grays. Get the outline in here. Now we do have coffee in the container, so I'll need to address that. It's gonna be a little different, but to get those blends, and maybe it's a bit of just superstition on my part, but I like to have that base color present if I can. So on the back side here, right, I'm gonna shade this in, but also trying to be aware of and respectful of any distortions that may happen in the glass or the liquid. Okay, so I'm going to shade that in. Just like that. And now, I'll just start with a lighter brown. And we're just going to build up, okay? We'll build up to where we need this to be, but the interplay of the brown and the blue, something I just wanted to make sure we had. Although I didn't shade the background herein, so, or the handle. And I guess it depends on your roast, you know, if you have a light or dark roast, what your coffee is gonna look like. But you can, it's very subtle, but you can see there, now we have that translucency that I was kind of talking about. Because marker ink itself is translucent. So all these colors are gonna kind of work to blend, all that good stuff. All right. Okay, I've got 79, 49, 47, 44, 29. Got lots of browns we can play with. So we'll start with this 47. Just like that. We'll just keep blending. But the blue still showing through, and that's what I want, is I want those colors to intermix. Okay, give that a second to dry up. Dry up, catch up, all that good stuff. And this is a Pitt artist pen, and I kind of like it for outlines, or I have been liking it lately. It's a brush tip, so if you're not careful or you've got a heavy hand, I wouldn't recommend using something like this, but it's for outlines. In the case of the glass here, it's also nice for getting those artifacts, like I mentioned. In the previous renderings, just a nice bold pen. Okay. Now the glass itself, yes, we do want some shading. I'm trying to decide if I want to use a pencil here. Gives me a chance to show a different approach. So right here on the glass, for example, a little bit of pencil onto the lid for the shadow core. It's a little bit different, but another way you could approach this glass. And then on the inside of the core here, if I want to make it any more intense, just tip the pencil up, and now we have a nice blend on this side. We can get a nice light blend on the other side, maybe on the back as well. And then once we hit it with that white, it should really start to pop. Rotate your page if you have to. What's up, Hector? Rotate your page if you have to get that line that you need. Just hit with some pencil. Alright, the screen, I'll take care of that using pencil as well. Just like that. So line weight, I'm pretty sure I have videos on that, but it's a good way to kind of clean up your sketch as you have double lines, things like that. I mean, you want to be careful not to make it look too much like a cartoon, but it's a good way to help things just pop off the page a little bit more. Okay, is this cool gray? Yeah, I don't want to use that. I want to use my basic gray 3, and go ahead and make this lid a little bit darker. This is going to be in shadow, so we'll just make that darker right through there, and this little recess as well. Alright, we'll have time for one more sketch after this. Like I said, I'm running low on all the fuel today. Alright, just like that. So if you see a white spot on a screen, like this, that's kind of just an approximation of a reflection that's in the environment. So it really just depends on the lighting and what you see here. My apologies if the stream's slowing down a little bit. I think everyone's trying to stream these days. But I will post the recording, so don't worry, I got you. Okay, so I want to go kind of dark to light on this screen. So dark in the upper corner here, and then light right there. And then right underneath, we'll go a little bit darker with the pencil. If you're using a good marker paper, it typically has a good tooth to it. Tooth meaning the grain. And so it's just kind of a delight, if you will, to use a pencil on marker paper. It's expensive, but it's really nice. Okay, just like that. And let's throw some text, maybe right there. And now I'm going to finish up on the coffee vessel, the handle as well. And let's say the handle's black. Again, not shading to the very edge here. Meaning here, well, let's use a different pen. I don't want to mess up. So here's the outline, like so. And now I'm going to take this pencil and just kind of shade in from the outline. And that's going to be my reflected light, just on the perimeter of the edge. And you can do the opposite as well. So if you want to show, for example, a little bit of light and you went too dark like I did, you can just grab a white pencil. I'm hoping mine's close by. And just kind of touch it up. Oh yeah, there it is. So you can just grab a white pencil like this and just touch up or enhance where you need it to be enhanced. And finally, a little bit of acrylic pen here. Okay, so now we have a little reflection. I'm going to flip this tip around. These pens are cool. You can actually remove the tip, refill them, flip them, make a mess. It's literally like having paint on hand, which is really nice. So just like that, boom. Some white on the far side as well. And if you're in doubt, you can just you can always look at a picture for reference and but more importantly, try and understand the mechanics of what's happening. It makes it that much easier to ground things in reality and present things in a way that people would understand and appreciate. So it doesn't feel weird, like, what am I looking at? I'm gonna go a little bit darker on part of the coffee here, so right about in here, the base, mid. something like that. And just another step. This is a 49, E49 if you're using Copic. If you're following along, nice and dark. Boom. But it's very, very subtle. But that blue still showing through, right? And that's really what I was after. Alright, so something like that. Now, if I had a blue paint marker, I did order some. But if I had a blue one, I could add just a little bit of blue on the bottom here, you know, because the blue would be reflecting into it. Same thing here on a maker lid. I could add just a little bit of blue in there, mix that with some gray. And that's just going to help this feel more like it's all part of a scene. Okay, very, very subtle, but that blue's right in there. Okay. All right, so there's that coffee maker, and we just need one more for the final sketch. I'll do that one, probably take about 15 minutes, and then I can go die and eat some food finally today. This is Sketch A Day Live. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being a part of the stream. Thanks for the support. Thank you, Patreons. Thank you, everyone. I can't say it enough. It's just so cool that I can do this and you guys are here. Thank you for the suggestions as well, as always. Much appreciated. If it's your first time, hit that subscribe button. If you're back, welcome. If you're like, what's going on? I'm Spencer. I like drawing. I'm a product designer. Well, I'm a lot of things, but product designer by trade. That's what I do. All right. So there's our coffee maker. Glass refrigerator. That's going to take a minute. As long as I don't have to show anything inside the fridge. Okay, so we did coffee maker. We have some sort of measuring vessel and a quick blender. I know there were a couple suggestions earlier as well. Oh, David says no glass in a cheese grater. Okay, I'll do a cheese grater. That can be a black and gray sketch. Let's do that. That'll be fun. All right, cheese grater. Let's do something different. Maybe you hold it like this. I'm not going to show it being held. And then we have just one side to it. Something like this. Maybe the bottom. Yeah, this would be cool. So the bottom of the cheese grater could be like a rubber thing. I actually don't think the handle could work like that. So let's tweak the sketch. Normally I would care and do an overlay and stuff, but I'm not going to this time. Ooh, that's an interesting shape. So from the side, it's kind of like this. This kind of shape, or rather, this kind of shape. Right, so this is the grater portion right there. And this is our handle. I kind of like that. That's pretty cool. Alright, so you'd hold this thing. This would allow you, you know, if it's like a rubberized anything, and it's on a sharp, or not a sharp, but a smooth countertop, it would stop it from moving, right? Important. If you're grating and putting a lot of pressure. Someone asked for a motorcycle. Today we're just doing kitchen stuff. That's what I felt like doing. So that's what we're gonna do. How we do. This is Sketch Day Live. Okay, so now for the part that's gonna suck. So I've got to do a pattern that would allow for grating. Okay. Now, if I were doing this in a real rendering or sketch, I wouldn't just freestyle it. The other thing I might do digitally is I would take a picture of the pattern of a grater and just drop that in. But since we don't have that, we're gonna have to do this old school. All right. So I'm just gonna put some marks here to help me. And for the replay, I will probably fast forward this part just because it's excruciatingly not fun to watch someone do something over and over. I'm not exactly selling myself here, right? But it's just a way for me to, using some light ink, mark out where these stamped surfaces. Usually this is like stamped metal. But it's a good way for me to just at least mark it out. Alright. So I know where it's gonna go. It's light enough that it's not gonna impact the sketch here. I know what colors I want already. Coffee break. Alright. So now I can take my pen, and I'm trying to remember what these look like, but I think they're kind of like this, like there's an ellipse of sorts. So I'm just gonna draw a series of ellipses, like so, and they're slightly angled, okay? So these ellipses are slightly angled because what I want to be able to do is just put another line, like so. Just like that. Zoom in so you can see. And that's going to be my cutout in this grater. So that's what's, you know, grating your cheese or coconut or whatever it is you're doing. So slight angle, which makes it hard because my perspective brain wants to change that. Draw with your shoulder if possible. All that good stuff. You know the drill. But if you don't, best recognize. Draw with your shoulder. Alright, and there's a couple things we can do to make this go a little bit faster once I get all of these in, but yeah. Time consuming. I've done one of these before just for fun, and I didn't post it because I wasn't super happy with it, but I did learn a lot doing it, so okay. We're getting close, guys. Why did I decide to do a grater? This is supposed to take like 15 minutes. There's a couple of things I would do differently just looking at this. So progressively, because these are closer to me, they should be a little bit bigger, and I kind of made that adjustment last minute, but I should have been progressively making these slightly bigger. But I think this kind of works, so it's alright. Also, the spacing on these, it's a little bit off here and there. Alright, so just on the inside of the hole now, a little heavier line where we would normally have the outline for the blender itself, or sorry, the grater. And that's going to give it that three-dimensional look. At least in the holes here. And I'll probably just do a marker wash on this one. That is, if I can find a Copic wide marker that's juicy enough, I'll do it that way. This is Sketch Day Live. Thanks for the suggestions. This is our final sketch. Today's theme was the kitchen. All things kitchen. We did a glass measuring container, a blender, coffee maker, and now a grater. Been using markers, pen. I know there were some questions about digital sketching. I could make Friday a digital show if you guys are interested in that, just all iPad. Or we could save that for Sci-Fi Sunday. Let me know. Best way to do that, follow me on the socials at sketchaday.com. Shoot me an email or drop a comment after the video publishes. Okay, so I've got my holes now. David says sorry. Victor says, Spencer, my paperweight flare smudges when I touch my hand into it while sketching with marker papers. Is it only me? It's not only you. This is Copic marker paper, but I do use Canson marker paper. You just have to get in the habit of not rubbing your hand on the paper, which is easier said than done for sure. So I feel your pain. I get it. But a lot of it's just practice. Okay. Neutral gray time. Let's go. So I'm going to use these to render this. Or not render, but shade. So light till you get it right. This is a neutral gray 3. Now, let's say this is angling up and there's some light here. What you might find, let's see, let me think about this. So on this side, we're going to have shadow. So I'm going to try and map out a little bit of a reflection here, or where we would have that shadowing and the light. So light, I'm gonna have, let's see, let's have the portion closest to us be the lightest. So just outline this real quick. On the back sides of these, we're gonna get the shadowing because these are three-dimensional. Alright, and then up here, maybe we have, you know, something in the environment that's reflecting. I think what I'll do, again, just for the sake of time, is I'm just going to shade this in and then we'll come back and hit it with white. So let's take this neutral gray now and just shade in the whole thing here. Alright, something like this. And light never hits the surface perfectly evenly, so we can create a small or subtle gradient across the front. I think my first Ohuhu marker is drying up. But I've been using these things pretty hard, so I'm okay with that. Alright, so now on the back sides of these, and I'll use a darker marker even to kind of hit and get the reflections that we want in here. Latrice says she would like a show dedicated to sketching on the iPad. Okay, I can do that. What apps do you use, Latrice? Alright, so contrast, I always say this, but contrast is your friend. So don't be afraid to hit your drawing with some contrast. just like so. I'm using the brush tip of the marker and just kind of kissing the paper in the same way for some of these. You know, and if you want to add some secondary stuff, we can add that as well. Just like that. And now, I want a little bit more of a gradient on the front here. So, let's jump back to my neutral gray 3. I'm just going to help this out a little bit. Alright, Procreate. I can do Procreate. Sketchbook Pro, I can maybe show a couple things that I like about it, but it won't be a focus. Alright, really what I need is I need a little bit more intensity up here. So I want there to be a nice gradient in that corner, and then just on this edge. Again, lightest lights, darkest darks. Just like that. And now, like I mentioned, we can use the white pens to help this pop even more. And if you don't have a pen and all you have is paint, that's fine too. I'm looking for a specific pen, and as always, the pen has walked away from me. It's not this one. It's a little bit bigger, chunkier version. But that's alright. Okay, so these holes, I'm gonna just go ahead and make these white. It was just a lot faster than having to kind of avoid the spaces. Now you can see with that contrast, kind of helps things read a little bit better. Specifically in the areas where we did this wash. Alright, so now it's popping a little bit more. Now on the outside, I do want to kind of kiss each of these. Maybe a little bit closer to the light source, a little bit bigger, and then smaller as you go away. And then I'm going to hit it with the black pen here and there just to, again, help it pop, feel right. The thing with reflections is if you just consider what might be in an environment and you understand how mirrors work, it makes a lot of this easier. I'm not going to say easy, but easier to apply and execute. Alright, so back to this black pen, like I said, just on the inside of these. Sup, Rodrigo? ¿Cómo estás? Alright. So that black, like I said, is just going to help the forms read more and the materials as well. So be judicious or thoughtful about where you put the black, but don't be shy about it either. Mistakes are just an opportunity to learn something new. Have fun with your drawings, all that good stuff. Alright. Let's get this outline in here. The handle, I want the handle to pop. I want it red. So that's what we're gonna do, red. Thank you, Rodrigo. So side, perimeter, highlight. Because this goes flat, actually, our shadow core will be, let's see, this is still the side. Alright, so we'll do something like that. And then right here. So notice how I skipped that line, okay? That is, again, trying to mimic or convey this idea of artifacting or reflections, things in the environment that might be influencing how our grater looks. On the bottom, we have a rubber, so I don't need to worry about the highlights as much. Okay. Like I said, I will upload this to the Google Drive, upload the high resolution photos or scans, depends on how I feel that day. I'll scan all of these, because I do love you. Just want a little bit more contrast in the blend. How is Mexico, Rodrigo? I was supposed to come in summer, but all of that got changed, you know, with the situation. The Rona. So most of my engagements are going virtual, which has been interesting. I mean, I'm set up for it, but I do like being able to work with people. It's always nice. Being in person. I do workshops from time to time, so if you work with a company, group, whatever, you're interested in, you know, kind of having me for a day, look at your work, give you some tips, kind of help take your stuff to the next level, hit me up, we can do that. Thanks again to supporters. Latrice, our newest Patreon, thank you. Much love, much appreciated in all the ways, for all the reasons. Quick shadow here. And yes, the shadow is not perfectly accurate, but more so serves as a means to ground the object to the page, be an expression of three-dimensionality. Alright, so something like that. I do want to separate the product from the shadow just a little bit. So I'll take my Molotov pen here, and just a little bit of white. Just hit that, so now it's popping out a bit more. On this handle highlight area, kind of hit that. Just for texture's sake, I'm gonna put white dots all over this, but I'll show you a way that I like to mute them. Okay, so white dots down there. Let that dry. Right in this area, I wish I had like a, well, I don't wish, I do have one. I have my Copics. I just don't like to use them on these. Alright. Yeah, there we go. It's very, very, very subtle, but it feels better. Just a little bit of cool gray 1 toward the bottom here. And we'll blend this. Very, very subtle, guys. Very, very subtle, but it's there. Wait for it to dry. Yeah, I'm sure we'll meet Rodrigo. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I think I might call it there. Maybe just a little outline on the back here. Some style dots. When I say style dots, I mean sometimes I like to put these little dots. I went through a phase of drawing circles all over my sketches way back in the day. Just figure out a way to make your sketch your own, whatever works. There's no hard and fast rule to it, but it does help. Okay, black pencil. Let's see if this will help. I really just want a little bit more of a gradient from this top corner. Yeah, this totally helps. And it's a lot easier to control. So if you're doing this, following along, try and grab a pencil, some shading over the marker. See if that helps out. Happy little grater. Happy grater. So I will have some new merch, specifically stickers, available soon. Great way to support. Thanks again to those who have supported already, whether it's through buying brushes or Patreon or whatever other stuff. There are links on the video frame as well for those who are interested. If you'd rather just make a contribution, that's fine. I know some of you have asked in the past, so that's why I put that link there, or the mention of the link rather. Okay, so like I was saying, I have these white dots, and now I can take the marker and just basically shade over the dots. So now it's a layer, or rather the intensity is a lot less, and I can take the red that's next to that one and now create a texture by just stippling. So we have a mid red, a more intense red, a little bit of white poking through, and now it feels more like a texture here on this rubber. Alright, well, I went about 30 minutes, well, 20 minutes over what I thought I would do. So I'm gonna bounce in just a sec. If you guys want, like I said, share this video or share something you know with someone, better yet. Also, be sure to subscribe, turn on them alerts so you don't miss. I get a lot of people saying, hey man, I didn't even know you had a YouTube. I'm like, yeah, I do. You just gotta subscribe, turn on alerts, pay attention, swipe up when it's on Instagram, all that good stuff. We're posting every day. Tomorrow will be a video review and possibly a surprise. Possibly. I'm trying to work out a few things. But keep your eyes peeled for that video review. Here's what we did today in retrospect. Grater. We did a blender sketch, transparency. I think 3 of the sketches had transparency, all of them reflections. We did a measuring vessel and a coffee maker. And last but not least, our grater. So there we go. Alright guys, thank you so much for hanging and being a part of the stream today. I can't say enough good things. Thank you so much. If you have any comments, suggestions, ideas, whatever, definitely leave them in the video description or join the Discord, say hi. We'll be back on Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific, so it'll be a morning show, and we'll just do whatever. I think, oh, no, we're going to make it a digital show. That's what I agreed to. So we'll do a digital show, Procreate, iPad Pro, possibly Photoshop, but that'll be the focus, and I'll probably just do 2 sketches. So if you get suggestions in ahead of time, that'd be great, and then I can just pick one and run with it. All right, guys. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Sketch-A-Day. Bye.